As we embark on the Great Canadian Farm Tour, it is important to acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of Indigenous peoples. Agriculture in the Classroom Canada recognizes and honors the enduring presence of the diverse Indigenous communities across Canada, including the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. We acknowledge the deep connection that Indigenous peoples have to the land, waters, resources, and all of agriculture. We express our gratitude for their stewardship and custodianship of these lands for generations. Agriculture in the Classroom Canada recognizes that acknowledging the traditional territories we reside and work on is only a small step towards reconciliation. We ask that we all continue to learn more about the Indigenous peoples in these regions, to consider the history and ongoing colonialism on this land, to reflect on how each of us can contribute to reconciliation. Hello, bonjour. Welcome everyone to our next stop on Season 3 of the Great Canadian Farm Tour. We are so excited to have everyone join us today from across Canada. My name is Mercedes Unwin from Agriculture in the Classroom Canada, and I'll be your MC for today. Before we get started, we just wanted to provide a few reminders. For those who want to follow along in French, please use the Interprify link provided in the chat to access the interpreting and closed captioning services provided for this event. We ask that everyone is mindful this is an educational event, so inappropriate conduct happening in the chat, such as spamming and improper comments, will not be tolerated. Throughout the tour, we welcome you to post your questions in the chat to get them answered. We'll answer as many questions as possible. The mystery word for your student activity books will appear at the end of this episode, so please stick around. Finally, we would love to know where everyone is joining us from. Please comment in the chat your school and location. Now we'd like to welcome our next tour host of the Great Canadian Farm Tour, Nancy, who is a dairy farmer from Newfoundland and Labrador.
Hello, everyone. Good day.
Well, thank you, Nancy, for joining us today. Before we get started, Nancy, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Nancy Lester, and I live here in St. John's, Newfoundland. And I farm alongside my parents and my brother and my husband. I'm actually a sixth-generation dairy farmer. My dad, he used to milk cows by hand. They only had a couple, but now we're actually milking with 4 DeLaval robots, and they run 24 hours a day. So things have definitely changed around here, but it's amazing to see, and I hope my kids and my niece and nephew and cousins have the opportunity to be able to farm here as well.
Well, that's very exciting, and we look forward to seeing a little bit more about your farm and maybe seeing those robotic milkers that you're talking about.
For sure.
So, Nancy, before we get started in the tour, I was wondering if you were interested in doing any specific shout-outs to any schools local to you.
Yeah, for sure. We have Ryan and Emily at Newtown Elementary, and Zach and Eva at St. Peter's Primary, and Colin at Pitter Patter Daycare. So hi, guys. I know you guys have seen this before, but glad you could log on and check us out.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks for doing those shout-outs. Now, what's going to happen next is I'm going to hand over the controls to Nancy, as well as my friend Chelsea, who's doing the guiding of the phone. And I'll be back throughout the tour to help guide any questions that are coming in from students across Canada. So bye for now. See you soon.
Awesome. All right, guys. So this is our barn. This is called a freestyle barn. And in here we have 260 Holstein cows. So Holstein is just like a breed, the same as dogs have different breeds. These are Holsteins, and these ones are the ones that produce the most milk. They're typically black and white, but you can still get some that are have a bit of brown in them. But all the ones we have here are actually black and white. And they come in here. They're able to go eat, get a drink, lie down. They pretty well do whatever they want when they want to. You can see closely, if Chelsea wants to move in a little closer, they have tags, a white tag in one ear. So that tag is actually given to them at birth. It's kind of like our social insurance number. So the cows can be tracked all across wherever they end up to. It can always track back to our farm that this is where she was born. And the orange tag in the other ear is actually quite similar to a Fitbit. That tag in her ear can tell us a lot of information about her. Every day we can look at our computers and we can see if anybody's not feeling the best, or maybe if someone's walking around a little bit more than they're used to, or it tells us how many steps, yes, and it tells us their temperature. And a cow has 4 stomachs, so those stomachs all have to work together for her to be able to digest properly. So if something happens and she's not feeling well, those tags will actually let us know, so we can get her healthy quicker. So they're a great asset to have here on the farm.
Nancy, a quick question coming in from Sarah.
Sure.
Sarah's wondering how many cows you have.
So just in here in this barn, we have 260 that are milking, but total here on the farm is about 600. And we're actually right in the middle of a city. If you guys did Google Earth and looked up Brookfield Road, you'll see that we are right next to St. John's and literally right in the middle of the city, and no one has any idea that all these cows are here on our farm. So it's pretty neat to see. So some fun facts about cows. They're actually 2 years old before they'll have a baby, before they have produced their milk. And so an old cow would be around 12 years old. So the average age that we would have here now is around 5 or 6 years old. Typically, they'd have a calf every year to keep producing milk. And we actually have, our cows have their own nutritionist. They get pedicures at least 2 to 3 times a year. And they are fed a special mix by our nutritionist. Will let us know how what to feed them, and so they can produce the most milk and be the most happy and healthy animals. Because if our animals aren't happy and healthy, they're not going to produce the milk. So we need to make sure all these things, it all works together. And so in here too, you guys probably can't hear as much, but you don't hear cows mooing typically. So if we do hear them moo, there's usually something going on, so we'll have to check it out. But for the most part, they're gentle giants. They could weigh anywhere from 1,500 to 1,800 pounds. But like I said, they're very quiet. They're more afraid of you than they would be of us, or of us afraid of them. And you want to walk through the cows, and they don't usually move. Another fun fact is that they're actually born with horns. With the ability to grow horns, but for the safety of the cows, of each other, and the safety of us as farmers, we actually take them off when they're younger. Usually by the time they're six weeks of age, we'll just use some medicine that the veterinarians give us, and we're able to make sure that they won't grow. Also, our veterinarians come every Thursday, and we'll go through our herd and check for cows that are pregnant, check cows that are just after having a baby, because as soon as she has her baby, she actually comes over here to be milked pretty well right away. And if you could look too, we have actually here, we have a tooth we could show you. So cows are actually only born with bottom teeth. This is the tooth. They're pretty big, but they can't bite you because they don't have the top teeth to do so. And their tongues are actually really, really rough, like sandpaper. So if we can get her to stick, there you go. This is actually Dolly. This is one of the most friendly cows in the barn. She'll let you go and do anything with her.
That's wonderful. They're so cute. That kind of leads us into 2 questions I have. One is from Skylar, and Skylar is wondering if the cows have names. Since you just called that cow a name, do they all have names?
So great question, Skylar, but as you can see, all of them in here are black and white and all kind of look the same. So we tend to, just like when you go to the doctor, you kind of given a chart with your name and your number. Their numbers are pretty well their names, but this specific one here, I do tend to call her Dolly because she kind of follows me around a bit more than the other ones do. But they're all, we treat them all the same, and we respect them greatly.
Wonderful. And another question we had up was Reed is wondering, do you milk girls or boys, and how does the milk production process work for cows?
Great question, Reed. So yeah, in here, this is 260 females. So the cows are females and the bulls are boys. So we Only the females is what we'll keep on our farm. My dad does raise some bulls, but we keep all the females here. And the production process is this barn here is what we call a semi-guided flow. So the cows pretty well, like I said, they eat, drink, and lie down whenever they want to. But when they go lie down, they typically go lie down on the ends of the barn because it's a bit quieter and there's not as much going on. And then they have to go through this gate up here, Chelsea. And that gate up there, it has some electronic sensors on it that when the cows walk through, and I showed you previously the number in their ear, that has a electronic device in it. So when she walks through, that gate will determine if she can come and eat or if she should go get milked. So if she should go get milk, she's diverted up to this area up front, and then she waits here. There's two robots here that are just running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And as you can see, they just hang out right here, and then they will go on in when they want to. So it's a lot more kind of, they get to do what they want when they want to. We find that our cows are a lot more content and a lot happy because they're getting to do what they want when they want to.
Wonderful. That's so fantastic. And Jameson was wondering, what do cows eat?
Great question, Jameson. So here in Newfoundland, we're a little bit more behind than all the other provinces with getting our grass and everything ready. I know some farms or some provinces probably already did their first cut, as we call it, of hay. But this here food is a mixture. So this is actually grass, which is fermented and turned into silage. And in here, what we feed is a mixture of brewer's grains, corn, supplement, and minerals. And it's all what our nutritionist recommends so that the cows will be nice and healthy. So right now, it's a little bit smelly around the farm these days because we're getting all the manure out onto our fields. We have approximately 600 acres that we have to get fertilizer on for the grass to grow, to be able to feed our 600 animals for the whole year.
So Nancy, you were mentioning the milk production process and showed the robotic milkers to us. I was wondering if you could kind of give us a closer look of those.
Sure, let's go. We'll go check out the robots. Follow me. So we just put these in 2021, and it was amazing to see how smart the cows are. My brother and I, 2 weeks before the robots were actually started in working condition, my brother and I ran the cows just through the machines so they get used to it. And that was February 3rd. And by April, the cows all kind of knew this is what they're meant to do here now. So this whole big machine here, if we can zoom out a bit, this is whole one robot. So we have 4 that look just like this. And typically that's about how much we'd need for 260 cows. So now this one here has already started the milking process. And so she comes in, and that tag I talked about earlier, the robot knows who she is and how much milk she should produce, and where her teats are. There's actually, so 2 just popped off right here. So the cow's udder is divided into 4 compartments. So now with these type of robots, we're able, one part of our udder might have 6 liters of milk, and another part of our udder might only have 2. So we're able to get more milk out of there because of them coming off individually, whereas in our old parlor, the whole thing used to just come off. So over here, you can see we'll put, this one just finished. I just sprayed some iodine onto her teats because when she goes out to lie down, we don't want her to get any infection or anything up in there. We want to keep her teats nice and moist. So this here is the camera right here. This camera can see everything where her teats are located. So what's going to happen now, it's going to go and pick up the wash cup, and the wash cup will take off any sand. The sand is what our cows actually lie on. It's kind of like they're at the beach. So it's going to clean off every one of her teats. And the cows actually want to come in here. They're given a feed, which is kind of like what we would call candy. They love that feed and they want to eat it. So they're wanting to come in here. Plus they want to get the milk out. So they actually enjoy coming in here and hanging out for, it's usually 6 minutes that it takes for the cow to be in the stall. So it'll clean off every single one of her teeth here. She has 4 teeth, and then once that's done, it'll attach the milkers to it. So it'll take out the milk, and then the milk is actually shipped into a pipeline right up into our dairy, where we have 2 milk tanks, and we have 2 days storage. So here on our farm, we're averaging about 35 liters a cow. Now, some cows we have had produce up to 75 liters when she's in peak production, but we don't. They're not all like that. We wouldn't need 260 if you had had all of those. So now this here now is attaching every teacup to her teat.
This was a question we had from Rin. Was
Sure.
that does the robotic milker, can you fit more than 1 cow in per robotic milker? Do you have to have more than one, and only one robotic milker can milk 1 cow at a time?
That's right. So only one robotic milker can milk 1 cow at a time, but now this is going 24 hours a day. Whereas opposed to our previous parlor, what we had before 2021, we had 20 of these little, they would be called a cluster of this whole the teat cups, and we would milk 20 cows at a time, but that was only twice a day. So now what we're doing here with the robots is that these are running 24 hours a day, and on average we're milking 2.5 times a day. So we're getting a bit more milk, and the cow comes when she wants, and depending on where she is in her lactation, meaning how far she had her baby, she'll produce more milk in the first, say, quarter of her lactation as she would in the last 3 quarters. So yeah, this is what happened here. So it usually takes about 6 minutes, and then you just hang out here. And then our milk, so we just make the milk here. It has to get shipped to up in Mount Pearl. There's our processing plants, and then they do the pasteurization here. This here, so that tells how much milk is in each of her quarters. So this would be her udder, say, and then each quarter we can see. So typically last time she had 3 kgs here, and this was 3.4 kgs. So, and this is how, and then all that's stored on our computer. So all her information is here. Yep.
We're going to do a couple questions and then go on to our commercial break, and then you'll head over to the calf barn. So a couple questions that we have is, what happens if a cow does not need to be milked or does not go to the robot? Do you have to train them? Do you have to kind of push them along?
Great question. So yeah, if anyone comes over to this barn, they have to be milked. So sometimes it does take a little while to train them, but for the most part, they're very smart animals. And once you show them once and they see that they're getting feed here, they want to come in. You'll get an odd one that doesn't work out, but every cow that after she has her baby, she's going to produce milk and she needs to get milked. So that's what happens there. And actually, we'll so this one here that you're seeing now, that one just fell off. So the robot will go ahead and put that back on again. And then if it doesn't connect, it'll actually send alarms to our phones. So a lot more stuff is on our phones now. It's literally at our fingertips. We're able to see everything that's going on in the barn now with the help of technology. It's an amazing thing.
Wonderful. And 2 more questions, and then we'll head into our commercial break. So Adam asked, how much milk do you get per day? So I think you mentioned on average you get 35 liters per cow. What's overall?
That's right. And then, well, it'd be close on usually between 75 and 8,000 liters a day.
Wonderful. And one last question that I see is Bo is wondering if the cows get to go outside.
Great question. Not anymore. We don't put the cows outside anymore. They're in here in what we call the freestall barn, so they're able to go and do whatever they want, socialize, drink, eat, lie down, and go get milked whenever they want. But here in Newfoundland now, there's only 21 dairy farms left on the island, and we typically don't let them, unless they go to pasture, but here on our farm, we don't. They don't go outside.
Wonderful. So such great questions. We'll now take a brief commercial break to give Nancy time to walk over to the calf barn, and we'll be back in 1 minute. So see you everyone in 1 minute.
See you then. See you then.
We are now back with Nancy, who's now in the calf barn. Not everybody can see it, but Nancy was basically running to get us in here.
I'm here.
So Nancy, I'm going to hand it over to you, and you can tell us a little bit about the calves.
Yeah, so this is our calf barn, and this is where our calves come for the first two and a half months of their life. After they're born, they'll come on over here, and we get the colostrum from their mom. That stuff is the most important, and we'll make sure that their baby gets her mom's milk. So we know. So we put it in this bottle here. It's a little bit bigger than what you guys had when you were little, but this is what we do. So we'll do this for the first, I'd say, probably 10 days of their life. We'll make sure we'll bottle feed them, and then they actually go up here, and we have robotic feeders. So a lot of stuff is going robotic now, just with trying to get people to work, and this is the way that technology is evolving, and we're able to do this. So once she knows how to drink out of the bottle like this, she'll get that tag in her ear. So we got a CFIA actually makes us tag them within the first 7 days of their life. So these ones here obviously are a little bit less than 7, and they'll get that big tag in their ear, and she can go up here, and it's almost like a formula mix that they'll get when they're older, and it mixes that up in the room, and she goes up into that little stall, and she has her she gets her milk every day. So we can actually, again, see it's all written on a computer. We know who eats and who doesn't eat. So we always have to watch that to make sure that everybody is getting the proper amount. And so the cows are quite like us. Their gestation is 9 months, same as us. So it's 9 months to make a baby. And they're the same as us as well as with twins. We can get twins, and here in our farm, while I've been working here, we've had triplets just twice. So triplets isn't as popular, but it can happen. And also with twins, if it's a boy and a girl, the girl actually usually, I'd say 95% chance she cannot reproduce. So usually the girl will go with the boys if it's a boy and a girl in that way. So here you can see too, so we talked about earlier how they only have bottom teeth, they don't have any top teeth. See, in this little one here can show you. And she just wants more milk. She doesn't want me to show you her. Here you go, girl.
Nancy, a quick question from Natasha. How small are they when they are born, and how old are these ones in the calf barn right now?
Yep. How small? So they could be, as small would be like twins would probably be about 50 pounds each, but some of them are weighing 85, 90 pounds when they're born, depending on how big their mom is as well. And in here, they're only in here for 2.5 months. So these guys over in here on the other side, they're the bigger ones. We kind of try to keep everyone together. So the ones out here loose in the pen, these are all less than a week old. And then the ones behind me would be up to a month. And then over here would be on the other side, Chelsea over here on this side, those are the older ones. So they'd be about two months old. So they're pretty well, they kind of look after themselves. They're able to go get drinks and eat their food. They get feed as well. And they get to play and hang out and do kind of do their own thing.
Wonderful. Another question is, how many
Yep.
calves do one cow usually have in their lifetime?
Yeah, in their lifetime, like I said, 12 would be old. And if she's having one a year or if she's had twins, those are all factors. So it could be, say, probably 10, somewhere anywhere from 10 to maybe 12. That would be a lot. But on our size farm here, because we have the 600 cows total, we're having about 30 cows have babies a month. And cows are amazing animals. Not very often do we have to intervene or call our vet. For the most part, the cows are having their babies all on their own. So they're pretty tough animals. And we just make sure that the calf gets the proper care and gets that colostrum, like I said, which is like liquid gold. And then they're pretty well good to go.
Wonderful. And you
Good girl.
mentioned you have 30 a month. Kind of try to strategize around the pregnancy of the cows. So you don't have them.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of our breeding is done with the cows is done artificially, and then for the heifer is like a cow that hasn't had a baby yet. We do have a bull for our heifers. So typically, yeah, my brother does most of the breeding, and so he's has a set number that he wants to have bred a month to make sure, because you want to make sure that you are able to obtain your milk production.
Well, Nancy, we're down to our last couple minutes. So let's do a couple more questions and then we'll do a wrap up. So
Sure.
let's end up another question just to ask you.
Sounds good.
So Zoe's asking if you use the milk to make other products on your farm, or is it just dairy straight milk consumption?
Right. So as I mentioned before, we only just produce the milk here. There's no pasteurization or anything done here on our farm. That gets sent to the two local dairies, the Saputo and the Agripure dairies, and then they look after the pasteurization. But here in Newfoundland, as of right now, it's just milk production that is being done here. We're hoping, well, that will change in the future, but as of right now, it's just the milk production. We're not making any cheese or ice cream as of yet.
Wonderful. And then let's do 2 more questions. So this question's from Shelly. Do you have a favorite cow?
A favorite cow? Yeah, well, I told you that 569, I named her Dolly, she tends to hang out with me, but really all of them are my favorite because I have such respect for them all, and they do a lot of work for us. So as long as we keep them healthy and happy, they'll keep producing the milk for us. So that's our main goal here.
Wonderful. And one last question for today. From Theodore. When did you know you wanted to be a dairy farmer? And this is a really cool question. I'd like to know
Thanks.
more.
That's an awesome question, Theodore. Thanks for asking that. Actually, I did university. I worked at our family farm market next door, and I was just always, when I done the university, I was just always gravitated back to the farm. So it's in your blood, and I'm hoping that my sons would like to carry on to do it as well. But it's a jack of all trades job. No day is the same, and you're getting to do a lot of different things. But like I said, I'm a 6th generation, so it's in my blood. So I was happy to get the opportunity to carry on the tradition here.
For any individuals who are not a multi-generational farmer from a farm family, do you have any suggestions for maybe someone new who wants to be interested and get involved?
For sure. Actually, we just hired a vet student, Katie, here last week, and she has I think long in her history down the generational train, she has farm in her history, but she's not from a farm family, and she wants to be a vet. So I told her, hands-on is the way to learn and see if you like it. So she's here with us and she's learning. She'll follow our vets here when they're here, and she's getting to do a lot of stuff. And the best way to learn is to go try it and see if you actually like it. So I would definitely recommend going and volunteering at farms, because I know you guys are still young, but even going and hanging out in farms and seeing if you like the animals and seeing if you like being outdoors, all those different type of factors, and then see where it takes you from there.
Okay, wonderful. And Nancy, are there any final words you'd like to share, even though those were really great there, but anything else you'd like to share with everyone before we wrap up today?
No, I'll just leave you with thanks for having me. And it was awesome to show you guys around. Right here in front of you, this guy lay down. He was actually just born this morning. So this will show you how big they are. And this guy here is only a couple hours old, and he's pretty big. So he's had his colostrum, and now he's just chilling out for the day until he gets fed again now around supper time.
Hey, oh, so cute. I just really want to be a dairy farmer. So maybe also put my hands into it and try it
You'll have
sometime.
to come visit someday.
100%. And I want to say to everyone, thank you for joining us today. Thank you to Nancy. It was great to have everyone here today. I know I learned something new, so I really value this time. And before we close off this episode, and thank you all for patiently waiting, I'm excited to share the mystery word for today is career or professionnel. So thank you again for joining us on this episode of Great Canadian Farm Tour. Our next stop will be tomorrow, May 16th at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at an oyster farm in Prince Edward Island. So thank you, everyone. And we're just going to wave goodbye. Goodbye for now.
See you guys. Thanks.